I remember when I made a complete fool of myself at law school. It was an event that really opened my mind to the real world because I was a very introverted teenager. I would spend a lot of time playing video games, watching TV shows. I had friends that were party goers and they would often ask me out in order to socialize and meet new people, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to stay at home, play World of Warcraft. And I was playing a lot of video games and watching a lot of TV shows with very, very strong female characters in them. Tomb Raider, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Cleopatra 2525, the good stuff. So here I am at law school, and we're studying Roman law, Jus Gentium and Jus Bellum. And the teacher was a judge, and she was talking about how, despite being a judge, part of the criminal underworld tried to intimidate her. And she described how she went into her house and someone broke into it, killed her dog, and the whole place was just torn up. And she was explaining how very traumatizing that experience is, especially because she was a woman, because she didn't know like what she would do if she would wake up one night and have someone else in her house. And here I am, taking wisdom from the American mainstream media, the American entertainment industry, and asking her, well, why doesn't she learn karate? Why doesn't she learn kung fu? Like, what the hell is her excuse? Why can't she be like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Why can't she be like Xena Warrior Princess in her own home? And every other woman in the class just look at me in disbelief. It's just like, because like, I was answering, it's like, legitimate question. Men are equal to women, so what is her problem? Why can't she just go out, go to the gym, learn some kung fu martial arts, and beat the crap out of anyone that gets into her house? And I still remember like the look of utter disbelief that was on her face when I asked that question. And the colleagues of mine, especially the girls that were looking at me like, and I legitimately thought it's like, well, they're just not open-minded. They're not really like the Americans. Like the Americans would know about equality between men and women, and they would also shame a woman for asking for help rather than going to the gym and learning how to be Xena the Warrior Princess. What is her excuse, really? Yeah. Nowadays, I do see that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is trying something very brave, very courageous. To sell this, like I would hate to be the marketing team. I would really hate to be the guy employed and trying to push this onto customers. Can you imagine what a hard job this person would have to convince you to have this in your bedroom? Like seriously. Especially when there's an economic crisis that's about to hit. Yeah. I'm pretty sure people will spend money on this rather than the Japanese equivalent, huh? But anyway, if I would have never played Assassin's Creed, and this is like, the only action figure that would be shown to me, and I would be asked like, can you guess what the game is about? I would be like, the game has you play as a transgender person who is fighting against societal injustices, and she is trying to break the glass ceiling. Is this not a correct interpretation by looking at the statuette? Oh my god! Like no, seriously, like the problem with it is not that it's a woman, but it's so goddamn ugly. Like you can use this to scare children. I swear to God, like if I were to have a kid, I would probably buy this. And every time he misbehaves, you put this next to his bed and you see the kid cry. Yeah. Actually, you know what I would do? I would do this. It's like, this is a demon from hell. And she senses the soul of evil children, of naughty children. And you would put it like somewhere away from the kid's bed, like somewhere high where the kid can't reach it. And during the night, you would go into the kid's room and just move it closer and closer to his bed. Like he wakes up and that thing is a little bit closer. It's just a little bit closer to his bed. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, kid. I'm sorry, but if you don't behave, Katlea is going to get you. It's like, be honest. What did you do? What did you do? During the middle of the night, you misgendered her, didn't you? Don't you know that it is ma'am? But what I really like is the I guess the fetishism that certain people from the media have with the Shieldmaiden. The Shieldmaiden was indeed I guess like a Viking folklore. You know, like they also believed in Valkyries, which were like these plump women that would take the souls of fallen warriors into Valhalla, but they weren't real. It's just like a legend that Vikings had at the time. So it's really similar. Like I suppose in the future, someone would find a TV, like a collection of the Zeta Warrior Princess TV show, and they would conclude that wow, during the 90s, women were very tsuyoi. They were very strong, and they were definitely just like capable to do everything that a man can. So again, like when a woman was complaining about being in distress, you would just tell her, it's like, why can't you go to the gym? What is your problem? Why can't you defend yourself? Why do you need other people to defend you? It's really interesting, isn't it? Now, again, I don't mind if they wanted to have like a female centric Assassin's Creed, but looking at the last one, it was like just a reskin of the male character. Like there was no differences, major differences in the story if you chose to play female or male. The people around you didn't treat you differently, whether you are a man or a woman. And again, like this happens in ancient Greece. It doesn't happen in the current year. So it was just like pandering, I guess. You know, like you could do that with just modding the character. If people would really want to play as a woman, they would just mod the character. But you know, like this whole shtick with Assassin's Creed putting strong transgender people as the protagonist is just because of journalists complaining. And the companies love this because instead of addressing the microtransactions, the bugs, the stale gameplay that has remained the same for many, many iterations of the game, they can just focus, oh, the only controversy is that we don't have a woman. And again, like I would love if they would legitimately have a woman, but the story would surround and focus on the fact that, yes, they are women. Like when men would go to war, women would stay home and they would often have to protect the town or the village against bandits or against different types of dangers. And you can have that. Like, you know what would be interesting, and I would legitimately like that? The game of a mother having to escort her sons through a war zone. Like, that would be an interesting game, wouldn't it? We don't get any of that, do we? Like, what you get is female characters acting very toxic masculine in an environment, and they call that strength and power. I don't know if women even want that. Like, how many women do you know that legitimately want to be like this? You know, just maybe there are a couple. I'm not saying, but I showed this to my girlfriend, and she was like, "Where is her makeup?" And I was, "Well, it's a historically accurate game. It doesn't have makeup." And it's like, yeah, but it's supposed to be entertaining. Why don't they make her look presentable? Why don't they make her look as a way that people would like to buy it? You know what I'm really curious about, though? This takes place in Viking land, right? So how are they going to have black people in it? Because they're going to have black people in it. Like, the woman is not going to have makeup because it's historically accurate. But the game is going to be diverse because, listen, you bigot, okay? You can regain health and you can press pause, so it's not historically accurate. So shut up, bigot, and buy the product. No, but seriously, like, I'm legitimately curious, like, how are they going to fit diversity in it? Because there's no diversity. Like, you have the Vikings, and they're invading England, and it's just white people against white people. But it's different culture. I know they think all white people are the same, but the Vikings and the English had diametrically opposed, not only religions, but views on life and way they dealt things. So I'm legitimately curious to see how they're going to spawn black people into this. No, seriously, like, if you're a person that's writing a story for these AAA companies, like, you're writing the stories like, you've not enough gay people. You hear this voice, the voice of the HR that resonates through the chamber, and then you write, you've not spawned more blacks. Oh my god! I know Western game developers are just a parody. They're like all of it. It comes to this. Comes to this. This should be in a museum, by the way. Like if people don't buy it and it remains on the shelves, it should be in a museum so that people from the future generations can look back and wonder how did people so stupid manage to survive on the earth?